coaches. Blow the whistle, ay. Blow the whistle, ay. Blow the whistle, they can't hold a flame against you, ay. Blow the whistle, blow the whistle, ay. Blow the whistle, got the game, it ain't no issue, yeah. Blowing the whistle, I had enough with you, the championship, it is gone. Ain't listen to you, I can't give it to you, cause you don't know what I've been on. This is the Coaches Podcast.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into the Fantasy Coaches Podcast. I am your host today, Coach Steve. You can see with me, I don't have my crew with me today, guys. Coach Gibbs and Coach Johns had other arrangements. They could not be on today's show. And I felt, why rush trying to find a guest last minute? I'm sure I could have found one, but you know what? I felt, let me take over this episode today and have a very fun, thrilled, informational episode for you guys. So today's we're doing rookie trends. If you guys are still in your dynasty leagues, haven't done your rookie drafts yet, a lot of people don't usually do them the first week. Some people aren't that nuts like me, or maybe you're in the middle of them and they're taking forever, and you really just don't know which direction to go for your drafts. I'm here today to kind of give you guys a trend. I've done 17 drafts already, finished complete. It's been fantastic. I wish I had more though, but basically an ADP of my league's trends. And again, these are just normal everyday dynasty people. These aren't the experts who go out there and study each and individual thing. So you're getting live ADP based off just normal dynasty owners and how they draft teams. And I think that's what you're going to see a lot in your leagues. You're not going to have expert analysts who are there knowing every little detail about a certain player. You're going to find true statistical facts in this episode today for you guys. So let's get started. Again, news-wise, we'll get back to the news next week, but right now we're going to talk about ADP trends. So in round one, pretty simple ADP rookie drafts. The top 12 players go like this: B.J. Robinson, Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Jordan Addison, Quentin Johnston, Zay Flowers, Will Levis, Dalton Kincaid, and Zach Charbonnet. Sorry about that. But so those are the top 12 in terms of ADP of who are most likely to go into the top 12 of your rookie drafts. And again, I'm basing it off of Superflex, and I'm also basing it off of 12-team leagues. So easily enough, 101 is B.J. Robinson. Has only been in about one or two leagues where I've seen him go number 2 overall, but in most cases, he's going to be the 101 in drafts. You'd have to likely have 0 people at quarterback to not take him 101 overall. If any case, trade him. I traded him in the league where I got Justin Fields out of it. It was fantastic. Following that, the 102 to 105, it's basically a 104 is basically the quarterbacks. Anthony Richardson goes number 2 more often than not. Bryce Young, he's only the one who's actually gone 101 compared to Richardson has only gone 102. But again, Bryce Young is a steady 102 to 104 player more times than not, while Richardson has gone as high as 102, but has fallen down to 105 at times. But they're most likely the 1-2 option in terms of rookie drafts. Then the 104, C.J. Stroud usually ends up around there. He usually ends up at the 4th spot more times than not. You've seen him go as high as 2, but more times than not, he goes to the 104. So if you're looking to trade up for a quarterback in these rookie drafts, you have to get to at least 104. You can push it for 105, but you have to know the other teams and their needs at the time, because the next player I'm going to talk about has gone in those ranges. But if you want a rookie quarterback in this draft and you want one of the elite tier ones, you have to go up and trade for the 104 at least. And you're getting C.J. Stroud, which is a really good quarterback. Following that, the 105, Jahmyr Gibbs, he goes as high as 3, and he can fall as far as 6. So for him, he kind of ranges all around. He's likely the 105 in most drafts. So if you want him, you're going to have to at least get the 105. But again, there are cases where in my 17 leagues where he's gone as high as 103, 104. It just really depends on what you're looking for quarterbacks. Now, the 106 range, you're getting Jackson Smith-Njigba, more likely than not. He's likely the top wide receiver coming off the board in terms of the top 4 that were drafted in round 1. He's consistently, more times than not, the guy who's going to fall over at the 106. Now, in the back half of the draft, Jordan Addison and Quentin Johnston kind of go back and forth more times than not in terms of the 107, the 108. Again, Addison is strictly that 106 to 108 range, while Quentin Johnston can fall to 110, 109. It really just depends on the need of some players. We've seen Will Levis go ahead of him, Dalton Kincaid, Zay Flowers, all gone ahead of him at times in these rookie drafts that I've done so far, but you're going to likely get him at the 108, I would say. Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers finally kind of goes all over the place in drafts. He's gone outside the top 12 just 3 of the 17 times in my leagues. But for the most part, you're going to be able to get him in the back of round 1. Good, solid player overall. Should be the wide receiver 2 on a Ravens team that hopefully will pass more this year. And again, people are kind of trading out of this range because they really don't want Zay Flowers, or the next few players I want to kind of come off the board in round 1 because I think the value doesn't fit the player's location or skill talent. But you're going to get a lot of people saying, hey, do you want the 109? Do you want the 110? It's going to happen more times than not. But Zay Flowers is a good player right there. And then following that, Will Levis. Will Levis has gone high as QB as number 6 player off the board and has fallen as far as the 17th player off the board overall. He's fallen to the second round 4 times of the 17 in my leagues. So you're going to have at times maybe be able to get a potential QB in those early rounds of round 2. So if you're looking for a quarterback, maybe you were like, oh man, I should have took a Richardson, a Young, a Stroud because I took Robinson first, but you might be able to get Will Levis at the 102, 103, 102, 202, things like that. So you have an opportunity to get that. But again, he probably will go in the back half of your draft. Dalton Kincaid, again, he has a wide range of outcomes as well, but he is most likely a first-round pick. More times than not, I don't play in a lot of tight end premium leagues, so people are taking him still in round 1. He's just passed the pick 13 just 2 times of the 17 leagues. So he's going to go in the first round. If not, he's usually the 102 off the board. Again, it's good value because you're getting the top tight end in the class with the pair with the best running back in the class. So you're getting good value that way, but he's probably not going to fall past the 13th pick overall in most rookie drafts. Zach Charbonnet, he kind of goes in a bunch of ranges where he can fall in the first round. It's not as common, unfortunately, for him to fall up in the first round. He does fall down into the middle of round 2 a couple times in the rookie drafts that I've been in so far. And so it really just depends on what the person values in his ability. I think him going in round 2, you're probably getting a steal at running back. Round 1, I don't like it as much because of the landing spot and the opportunity and what Seattle plans to do with his running back core now. But he should probably fall in that round 2 range. He's usually the last pick or so into round 1 overall. So round 1, it's pretty standard. This is the group here. You're going to get a few players we'll talk about and who fall in round 2 in terms of an average ADP, who do bounce up into this round 1 range. But for the most part, most of your rookie drafts, you're going to see a board that ends up looking like this, especially the first 6. That's kind of what you're going to see. The back half is pretty similar, but it may fluctuate a player or two. Really, the top 8 players are going to go in the top 8. Quentin Johnson and above are going to be in the top 8. And then everyone else in the back half, it's going to be these 4 likely, like Flowers, Levis, Kincaid, Charbonnet, or it's going to be 1 or 2 other players we'll talk about in a second here. But a good round 1 value you're going to get overall. Now, round 2, again, obviously this changes a lot here. Devon Achane, he comes off the board here first, an average of pick 13. Again, he is one of those few players that can end up in round 1. People like the landing spot for Miami, as I do, as I'm a big Dolphins fan back here. But he is more of an early round 2 pick more times than not. You're going to get him between the 201 and 204 range. He's going to go there because of the landing spot, because of the opportunity that people need at running back. He's going to end up there a lot. Kendre Miller, he is another guy, ends up in round 1 at times. People like the landing spot in New Orleans. They think that he has a good chance of being a really productive back there. We saw some hype news about him and how he's really going to fit in this offense really well. But in terms of rookie drafts, he doesn't always go early in round 1. There are definitely times where he doesn't make that opportunity for him. He does end up in the back half of round 2 and 4 of the 5 leagues that I've done. So there's potential for him. If you like him, he might be able to sneak him in the back half of round 2. But he does end up in round 1 more times than not. But he has fallen, and he has been going early at times. Michael Mayer, he is another guy. He ends up at round 1 at times. I think that's probably more of my tight end premium leagues. But he's someone who will be mostly in the middle of round 2 to be able to pick up. People seem to like the running backs over him. People seem to like a few of these wide receivers over him first. And then they go after Mayer after that, usually the 106, 107 range. Definitely a good player to have in that back half here because he is going to give you a future value at the tight end position, which is really great. Jonathan Mingo goes off the board next. He had one round one selection in him. So you see the round one, the minimum as early as he's gone 11th. That's only one. He's usually a round 2 pick. He doesn't fall out of round 2 though. He's someone who's going to be in that round 2 range where he's gone at the 24th pick overall, but he likely will go as high as a 13th pick overall. In this range here in the round 2, it's going to be based off needs, landing spots, and what people like rather than pure talent. And people love the landing spot for Mingo because he has an opportunity to be the wide receiver 1 for the Carolina Panthers because of who they have there. He's a round 2 player all day. Rashee Rice, again, he had himself a spot where he landed in round 1. Only one time we saw that happen. He is strictly a round 2 player. He's going to go somewhat throughout round 2. More likely, he's going to go after those 2 running backs at the top there, and someone might sneak another running back or 2 that we'll talk about later. But he's that mid-range round 2 pick overall. So definitely good value for a guy like Mingo in that middle round. Not Mingo. Rice in those middle rounds. Marvin Mims is next on my list here on average of pick 19. He has not gone in the first round at all, so he is strictly a round 2 player. He's not. So if you like Mims and you like the situation he has for long term, he's going to be in that round 2. He has gone as high as 15, as low as 23 overall. He fits in that middle range of wide receivers. And again, Mingo, Rice, and Mims are all kind of packaged together in terms of that wide receivers in round 2 that people seem to really enjoy. Roschon Johnson, he had one top 12. I think someone reached for him at the end of round 1 because they wanted a running back. And I think there are a lot of running backs off the board that they didn't like at that point. So why not take Johnson at the 12th pick? Don't like it that much. He did fall into round 3 one time of my drafts, but it was a 25th pick. So I don't really count that as a round 3 per se. But he is the guy who's going to probably fall in that mid to late range or second round pick of your rookie drafts. If you're looking for an RB, especially those contending teams who like to have extra running backs on their depth chart, he's probably going to be there for you more times than not. You'll be able to get a player like that who I think could end up being the starting running back by midseason for the Chicago Bears. Hendon Hooker, quarterback of the Detroit Lions now. He is mostly a round 2 pick. He had one pick where he went into round 3, but for the most part, you're going to get this guy in round 2. People are going to go for him in round 2. Between the 204 and the 209, he goes in that range there. You're going to be able to get a quarterback that might not help you out this year and someone who maybe he'd be taken early for teams who aren't competing and say, oh, well, let me get ready for 2024. Hooker has a chance to start in 2024. We'll see how that works out. It is a risky pick, though. I prefer more of a back half of round 2 pick than taking him early. And just because of the unknown, I know there's a lot of good positive vibes on Jared Goff in Detroit right now. So slightly concerning on that, but he's definitely more of a mid to late range round 2 guy. Josh Downs. Josh Downs is pretty interesting. His range is pretty big. He's gone as the 102, the 201 in drafts at some point. Again, not as frequent. He's in the first half of round 2, more of a back half of round 2, but he has dipped into round 3 a lot. He's usually like the first pick in round 3 a lot of times because I think he's the next tier of drop-off talent. And after basically all these players goes, Downs seems to be the last one standing. And then early round 3, pick 301, people are getting values for him. So you're going to be able to get that if you have the first pick in your rookie drafts, you might be able to get a player like Downs at your 3rd round pick, which would be great value. Tyjae Spears, again, he has a wide range of values. Just once or twice has he been going into round 1. So don't take that too crazy. He had just 2 picks in the top 14. But I think the recent news with his medical injuries and his not having an ACL has dropped him. And he's been falling in drafts. I mean, you could probably have been talking about him a week ago from this date that he was in that Devin Achane and Kendre Miller range. Now he's falling. And I wouldn't be surprised by mid-July, we're talking about rookie drafts again, maybe, that he's a 3rd round pick at this point. And he's been falling in the 3rd round plenty of times at this point. I probably wouldn't touch him in the first 2 rounds, to be honest, because of that. I've done it once here because of my need at the time, but because of the history of his injuries, it's definitely a concern. So next up, the average of 23rd overall. Oops, sorry about that. Tank Bigsby. Tank Bigsby is a player I really liked in this draft process here. He landed in a situation where it's not super great, but it's not bad. Again, he's someone that you're going to be able to get in the back of round 2. He's gone in the top 15 just once. He's dubbed into the 3rd round a few times where he's fallen to the middle of round 3. And if you're a pick 4 or 5, you might be thrilled to get a player like that. I know I was able to take that good value dip and take advantage of it, which was great. But more than likely, you're going to get him in the back of round 2. Contending teams are going to want to grab running backs, and he falls there more times than not. So, and then the last pick of round 2 in terms of ADP, Sam Laporta, average 23rd overall pick. Laporta, again, I finally was able to get shares of him. I was so mad. I love Laporta's landing spot. He has an opportunity to start day 1, and I'm excited about it. But it wasn't until like my last few rookie drafts was I was actually able to get him for his value. He always seemed to go a few picks ahead of me. But again, he is another player that he's kind of like a 50-50. You're either going to get him in late round 2 or early round 3. It just really depends on the need for some of those players, the contending teams, the need for those, middle round teams. He's going to go in a lot of different scenarios, but you're expecting to see him in that late round 2, early round 3 range, which is definitely good value overall than taking, I honestly think, Dalton Kincaid in round 1. I like Sam Laporta late round 2, early round 3 if I can get him there, overtaking Dalton Kincaid early in round 1, late round 1. So, all right, over to round 3. Round 3, again, the tier kind of drops off a little bit here. Some of the first half players are pretty cool, but then after that, it really just dips in terms of value. So, if you could trade your 3rd round pick for a 3rd round pick next year, or even a second round pick, someone like one of these players, definitely would consider it. Start off round 3, average Jalen Hyatt, average a 23rd overall pick. Again, that's round 2. He has fallen into round 2. I think most of it has to do with his ability to have that 10th overall pick. That helps, I think, the average for him a little bit, again, out of the norm situations. But he is a round 3 pick. He is an early round 3 pick in most rookie drafts. He falls into the 3rd round here pretty often. But you should be excited about it because he was a third round capital with 1st round hype on his name and an opportunity to be the wide receiver 1 for a team that looks like they're heading in the right direction. Definitely good value to get him in early round 3 Hyatt. Jaden Reed, he has, again, one pick in the 2nd round, and that was at pick 15, but he mostly falls into that 3rd round a lot of times here, unfortunately. He will have a few 2nd round options here that I've seen him go and get drafted in, but for the most part, he falls in that early round 3 range too. A lot of these wide receivers here that you'll see right on the board here that I'm talking about, Hyatt, Reed, and Tillman, who I'll be talking about in a second, they all found early round 2. And then as a team who's rebuilding, these are all great players to go out and obtain for that value at the time. Next up, Chase Brown. Chase Brown, definitely a major steal in this draft because if something happens to Joe Mixon over the next month or 2, Chase Brown in rookie drafts would probably be borderline round 1. I'm sorry. People will be talking to him like the Devin A-Chain range. At that point, he'll make a massive jump. So you're getting him now if you're doing your rookie draft soon. Getting him in the early round 3 is fantastic value. He's gone as high as 15. He's gone as low as pick 30 overall. But he is a pretty good early round 3 running back to take if you're looking for more depth at running back. Cedric Tillman. He had a couple round 2 picks to him. Late round 2, he kind of falls, but he has fallen all the way down to the last pick of round 3 in a few of my drafts. So he has a pretty wide range of outcomes to his game there. I think it just depends on what people like in his talent overall and their need at wide receiver or whatnot. But he is another guy, early round 3 a lot. I like these first 4 guys in round 3 I've just mentioned. I like them there. They're a solid pick, good value at the time, have opportunity to succeed potentially this year, but definitely in 2024. Luke Musgrave, he's been okay. Again, he falls into round 3, doesn't get round 2 capital in any of my rookie drafts. And he falls as low as the end of round 3. Again, he is someone in terms of value, I would prefer to wait to round 4 then. If you're going to look for him in round 3, I'd rather grab somebody like a Tucker Kraft, his teammate, in round 4 instead. I like the value better. I feel like there are some other players on this board still that I'd rather attack than Luke Musgrave. But he's fallen in round 3 of your draft. So if you could avoid him and let someone else take him, you're doing a pretty good job overall with your ADP in terms of that and the value you get out of that. Deuce Vaughn, the running back for the Cowboys now, he has one top 12 pick. I'm not sure what someone did there. I was very confused by the pick, but they're not even Cowboys fans, which is the weird part. So for the most part, though, Deuce Vaughn, you see the top 12, early pick, but he's a round 3 pick. He has fallen into round 4 at times. I think the hype over the last few days has kind of gotten up to people. So over the last few drafts I finished recently, he has been going in the middle of round 2 pretty frequently, and people seem to like it. Again, just 1 4th-round pick, just 1 1st-round pick. He is a 3rd-round pick that you'll be able to get there. They're hyping him up already. They love the upside, but get him in round 3, definitely better value for fan rookie drafts right now. Kayshon Boutte, he's someone who falls more in that back of round 3 range. This is the back of round 3 now of rookie drafts in terms of ADP. He's definitely someone who's fallen in that late 3rd round, what I've been seeing a lot of. He falls sometimes into the 4th round, which if you like that kind of value, if you thought you liked the upside of him because he broke out such a young age, you might be able to get him in early round 4. It's potential, but he has been going as like the pick 10, 11, and round 3 a lot of times. Zach Evans, another good running back from the Rams now. Again, he's got an uphill battle. Interesting to see what he's able to do. Again, he has fallen, has gone as early round 3. I think it really just depends on the value. If you're looking to acquire him on your team, he has fallen into round 4 at times, but he's a pretty mid-range pick, round 3 kind of player. Israel Adebakanda, he is someone I'm starting to get more likableness to him. It doesn't make any sense, but he's someone I've been starting to like more of. And it's because the way I'm thinking about it is that I don't know if Breece Hall is really going to be ready for week 1. He has a ton of talent that I liked in his game there. Three down back potential. And he lands in a situation where he could end up starting early on in the season here for your team. Someone, in terms of contender, you get him in the back of round 3, you're set. If you pass on him around 3, you're wasting your time, because I think he will have a role on this Jets team pretty early and often. For a rebuilding team, to get him in around 4, which he does fall to round 4 a lot of times, he's fallen off to pick 44th overall. That's almost the end of round 4. You're getting good value for a player like that. If I get him in round 4, I'll be thrilled about it, but don't be scared to take him in late in round 3 either. I think it's good value for him too. Eric Gray. Oh, no, not Eric Gray. Luke Schoonmaker. He falls into this round 3 ADP. Again, he is at mid-range round 3 pick in terms of tight ends. Again, another tight end where I'd rather pass on and wait for round 4, but he has fallen into round 4 as well. People like him because the Cowboys are really good with tight ends. So people seem to be taking a shot on him, but I don't really see it there. I think it was a waste of a pick overall, but yeah, he's going in that late round 3, early round 4 range. Eric Gray, someone who I really liked. I think he has a good opportunity to sit behind Saquon. And I don't know if Saquon's signing a long-term contract with these Giants at all. It just doesn't make sense for them to do at this point. He went as early as pick 24 overall. Again, just out of the norm kind of pick, but you're getting him in the last few picks of round 3, but he's definitely going to be there more times than not in round 4 for you. So take that with a grain of salt if you like it. He's a good player to grab for contending teams, especially if you have the Saquon. Especially if you have Saquon as your quarterback or running back. He's a good backup to go and grab now and put on your dynasty team. It's good value in late round 3. And Tank Dell is definitely someone from the Houston Texans who have been rising up over the last week here. He definitely was going from, late round 4 pick to where he is going mid-range 3rd round now. So he is gaining momentum. He's someone who could probably jump everyone who's above him on his side here. The Grays, the Schoonmaker, Adebakanda, Zach Evans, Boutte. He could end up jumping these guys over the next couple of weeks here. I think people are really buying into it. They said that CJ Stroud wanted him there. So his value and his hype is starting to gain traction here. Again, you're probably fine him in the 3rd round. Prefer him in the late 3rd, early 4th round if I can. Definitely don't want to reach early on a guy like this. So round 4. All right. This is where we get to some of the undrafted players now, guys. Darrell Washington. Definitely not like the landing spot. Definitely concerned about his value as an NFL player. But he gets drafted no matter what. Obviously, he's going to go, and if more times than not, he's going to fall in the 4th round, and people are going to take that value because, he was a potential top 2 round pick, and then he got him in the 4th round. Wow, I'm going to take a value on that. And you should at that point. I mean, we'll see what happens. I don't know if it's much, but in the 4th round, you're taking a shot on a player at this point. Can't hurt that. Stetson Bennett goes over in round 4 as well. He's the only other real quarterback outside the top 5 that actually get drafted a lot more times. In about half my leagues, he's been drafted in. But it seems like if someone takes a shot at Bennett, it's happening in the 3rd round a lot, late, mid 3rd round, or he's just not getting drafted. So he's got a really crazy range of outcomes. People seem to be taking him for some reason and hoping for the best because of the Stafford and how his age and his arm and everything like that. And then, or some people just saying, nope, not dealing with that guy. And he goes undrafted, which he's a good waiver wire pickup in Superflex leagues. Dwayne McBride is another one of those players that does get drafted everywhere. He doesn't leave the draft people don't leave without taking him in the draft at some point. He has gone in early round 3 at times, but he's a round 4 pick, early to mid round 4 pick. He's going off the board. A good grab in round 4 because we don't know the situation with Dalvin Cook, and we'll find that out probably in the next few months when he gets healthy and whatnot. Michael Wilson, another player that gets drafted no matter what. He can at times reach round 3, but he is a round 4 pick more times than not. And he's a good value because I don't know exactly what's going on with Arizona and their wide receiver core. You know, they have Hopkins still, they have Hollywood Brown, they have Rondale Moore, but Michael Wilson was a player that was very interesting, just didn't show the production over in college. So good round 4 pick. Evan Hall, another player that will get to the draft without going undrafted. He has fallen to the 48th pick a lot of times. Pass catching back for the Indianapolis Colts, kind of the Nyheim Hines replacement. Interesting to see how they use him in that offense there. But he is going in drafts. He's definitely a good 4th round running back to go and grab. Xavier Hutchinson. Early on, it seemed like he was getting undrafted a little bit, and then people started catching on like, oh, he's a big guy. He's different than all the other receivers at Houston. Let's start drafting him. And he's been a pretty consistent 4th round pick. I like the pick, and I picked him up in a lot of my drafts in the 4th round. People have reached for him in round 3. I don't like that as much, but he should probably be there in round 4, and it's a good value to grab in round 4. Tyler Scott, he's gone undrafted at times, but he's also gone as high as the late 3rd round. I think it's just what people value Justin Fields as a passer and how much work Tyler Scott can get in an offense because there's a lot of people ahead of him, Chase Claypool, DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney. So it really just depends on people's valuation on terms of Scott. But again, he'll be there in round 4 for you a lot. Bretton Strange, a tight end from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, he's gone as early as round 3, late round 3. But he definitely goes undrafted about 50% of the time here. Another player that if you're tight end needy, the capital's there, but I just didn't like the situation on that. But there's a potential for him. If you're grabbing him late in round 4, it's not a bad idea. Tucker Kraft, someone I really like in round 4 lately. I've been taking a lot of shots on because I feel like at that point he has as much opportunity as Luke Musgrave. It's only 1 round difference. I don't think draft capital between round 2 and 3 are much different. So he's definitely someone I'm looking to grab in round 3. Definitely one of the few waiver wire gems I'm looking to pick up after the draft because he does go undrafted. Parker Washington has gone as early as mid round 3. Probably better off. You're probably seeing more times than not in late round 3, early round 4, mid round 4 range for you. He has gone and drafted in a few of my leagues. Again, another major pickup after the draft. A.T. Perry is definitely someone I've been gaining my momentum on in terms of liking him and drafting him overall. Somebody who will be there in round 4. He doesn't go in round 3 at all. You'll be able to get him in round 4. You'll be mad that you can't get him because he'll go 1 pick before you. But you get another guy that I like to grab after drafts are over. And Sean Tucker, he is someone who's been going in round 4. He was going undrafted early on. I think people didn't catch on that he ended up with the Bucs, and the situation is very interesting because he was a top 10 rated probably prospect in terms of running backs. I think at that point it's worth a grab. People are bring this to the Justin Ross of last year and how early he went. I'm glad that Sean Tucker's not getting that same treatment because taking him in round 3, early round 2, mid round 2 would have been a stupid decision. Round 4 pick, take the value you get with a guy like that. So good value for Sean Tucker there. And then just some, I didn't change the sign, but some waiver wire gems late in the round. Trey Tucker, Puka Nacua, Rams wide receiver I really like to grab after drafts. Josh Wiley has been drafted at times. Chris Rodriguez. These are all players that have been drafted, just not consistently enough in the top 48. Trey Palmer has been drafted. Jake Haney. Clayton Tune is a really guy I like to pick up after drafts or in the 4th round because of his potential to maybe start for Arizona this year. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, definitely another guy. Jaron Hall, Justin Shorter, Kenneth McIntosh, Max Duggan, Will Mallory, Keaton Mitchell, all guys that have gone in the 4th round of my drafts. But not consistently enough. They've maybe 2 or 3 times if some of these players have gone. All these guys go after. Aiden O'Connor's a guy I like after drafts as well for Superflex leagues. So, yeah, there's a lot of good guys you can get. Again, go back and review what I just told you guys all. I know it's a lot for me to say at once. Sucks I have to talk all at once, but it's okay. So hopefully you guys can take this and kind of help learn and be better prepared for your rookie drafts you have ahead of you, or if you're still in the middle of drafts, if you're looking to gain the best value. There's a lot out there. I also made an article that I put on Dynasty Nerds website of this as well. So kind of did that as a little partnership with the fantasy coaches here. Not a real partnerships, but I definitely wanted to also talk about this on the fantasy coaches too with our crew here, and talk about the values you're going to get in these rookie drafts here. So take that with as much information as you can and use that to the best of your ability to do your rookie drafts. So, but that's all I have for you guys today. Try to keep it to 30 minutes. I didn't want to go too far for you guys as much, but I thank you guys for listening and tuning in. If you're tuning in live, whether you're tuning in on our YouTube channel at the Fantasy Coaches, whether you're tuning in, via podcast somewhere, wherever you listen to your podcast, we definitely all appreciate it. We're just continuing trying to help you guys win championships while going through the dynasty season, getting through your rookie drafts. We're getting close to redraft season, so we'll start diving into that. And now we'll also mix in with dynasty, which is great. And again, follow us over on Twitter at Coaches Fantasy. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like I mentioned already. Give us a 5-star review. All these little things just help us out, guys. And if you take 30 seconds of your time to subscribe, follow, write a quick review saying we were great, it's really helpful to help us out, guys, because we're just trying to continue to build our brand here and be the best we can to help you guys, like I said, win championships. That's all we want to do. We want to win championships. We want you to win championships. So we'll be back next Monday. We'll be getting into some rookie drafts. We'll actually be doing the full drafts ourselves with the crew here. John and Jibs will both be back. So we'll be doing some rookie drafts next week to see more of a visual thing, the actual draft going on. So tune into that next Monday at 5:30. We'll get into some more things later in this month, and we'll start get into redraft season, talking about the 23 season ahead of us. The NFL schedule comes out Thursday, so keep that in mind. We'll probably mention that real quick on next Monday show, but it's going to be fun to find the schedule too. So thank you all for listening. Tune in until next time, guys, and have